Danny, première question d'emblée. Parle-moi un petit peu de ces réunions présentement hivernales. Qu'est-ce qui ressort dans les discussions présentement?
Mathieu, je vais être bien honnête avec toi. On vient juste d'arriver hier soir, moi puis Jason, puis les réunions débutent à 14h30 aujourd'hui. Alors, on n'a pas eu la chance de s'asseoir avec les dirigeants de la Ligue canadienne, puis les autres DG, puis entraîneurs en chef dans la Ligue canadienne. Alors, on vient juste d'arriver, puis on devrait avoir plus de nouvelles dans les prochains jours.
Peut-être une petite question, peut-être par rapport à la réglementation, ça va être vraiment probablement le plus gros talker. Qu'est-ce qui, selon toi, est la grande question par rapport au règlement de 2026 qui s'en vient, ou peut-être les discussions par rapport au simple et à la réglementation, peut-être du temps de 35 secondes? Y a quelque chose là-dessus qui va vraiment être un gros concern?
Ben, écoute, je pense que les dimensions du terrain vont être une conversation qui devrait probablement prendre une belle partie de la conversation des échanges dans les prochains jours, là, probablement de bouger les poteaux. Ça va être un autre sujet qui devrait dominer aussi. Je pense que la question des 35 secondes aussi. Alors, ça va être intéressant de voir l'opinion de tout le monde, que ce soit la Ligue, que ce soit les autres DG, les autres entraîneurs en chef, de voir où ils sont, comment ils se sont positionnés là-dessus. Puis je suis sûr et certain qu'à la fin de la journée, on va prendre les meilleures décisions pour la Ligue.
Merci Mathieu. Thank you Mathieu. Next question. La prochaine question est de Benoît Rioux. Vas-y Benoît.
Hello, my question is for Jason. Hope that you are going well. Nice Christmas. I know that you take part of some decision during the winter, but how are you satisfied by the work of Danny in the last month? I mean, inside the team, there's a lot of solution like next man up in defense, like Kante Arku, who can replace maybe Sankey. How are you happy about Tyson Philpott, who is coming back? Just want to know how you evaluate the work of your friend, Danny.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I hope you had a great Christmas and holidays as well, and a new year as well.
Thank you.
Danny and I spoke a lot right after the season about the direction we were going to go with the roster, and it was an ongoing conversation. And we identified the players that were coming into free agency and kind of not to say priority because it's kind of a bad word, but where we needed to start the negotiating and where it would go. And there was always going to be a direction. But the one thing that was always clear to both of us was we're aligned with the same thoughts on our players and where we were going to go. And the belief that a guy like Jeffrey could come in and is ready for the opportunity. And then Tyson, how important he is, and Lestage, how important they are to our foundation of what we've built. So we've been aligned since the get-go. Great conversations, and obviously I couldn't be more pleased with the direction of our football team. It looks familiar, and which I love because I think we have a solid group of guys, to start our season with.
Are you anxious as the fans to know if Marc-Antoine Dequoy will coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I think Antoine Dequoy knows how I feel about him. I can tell you that. I know how he knows how we feel about him. It's just going to be a decision that gets made. I mean, we've presented stuff to him. He's got to make the ultimate decision. It's his choice. And I always like to tell our players at the beginning of training camp every year, and I tell them at the end of the season, business is business, but it's also a choice. It's a choice they make, and it's a choice we make. But when the offer is presented, it's their choice to accept and be a part of us as well. And I think, he's had great success with us. Obviously everybody needs to improve. I mean, that's coaches, players, everybody, the opportunity in the off season is to improve and be better and compete. And we're big on competing. So, the offer's been presented. It's just a matter of coming together and saying yes, and then moving on. And I'll be excited if Dequoy is back.
Thank you so much. Have a good time in Calgary.
Thank you.
Merci, Benoît. La prochaine question est de Frédéric Daigle. Vas-y, Frédéric.
Yeah, bonjour, messieurs. Merci de prendre le temps ce matin. My first question is for Jason. Now that we've turned the page on 2025 and 2026 is coming up, what can you tell us about the new rules and if there are any that you would like revised maybe from what you know right now?
Well, we're just in the preliminary. We've got all the rules kind of presented to us a bit, a few weeks ago. I've kind of perused through it a little bit. I'm actually anxiously waiting today because we get our first meeting together with the other coaches to discuss what's been presented. It's too early for me to say what I really truly want to see done. I love our game. I love it the way it is, and I know there's micro improvements that can be made every year to anything to make it better. But I think I'll have a better feel for it after a few days of discussing these rules and what the direction we end up going as a league together.
Okay, thank you for that. Et Danny, est-ce que je sais, là, j'ai lu le papier du collègue Nicolas Richard la semaine passée au sujet de Marc-Antoine. Est-ce que votre offre à vous autres, à Marc-Antoine, venait avec une date butoir? Est-ce que cette offre-là a une date limite, ou si elle est lancée, puis Marc-Antoine prendra le temps qu'il veut bien pour y réfléchir?
Mais écoute, on n'a pas établi une date fixe, mais c'est sûr qu'on est déjà rendu à 1 mois. C'est sûr qu'il y avait les fêtes pendant cette période-là, puis on a eu d'autres discussions, ça fait les derniers jours, puis je m'entends qu'on devrait avoir des nouvelles peut-être dans les prochains 10 à 14 jours, je dirais, du gros max 2 semaines, parce que je souhaite que l'association va continuer, qu'il va faire partie de l'édition des Alouettes en 2026. Mais pour nous, c'est très important de savoir si c'est le cas ou non. Parce que si c'est non, mais là, ça, c'est des sous que probablement on peut utiliser autrement. Alors, on devrait avoir un petit peu, je dirais, des nouvelles prochainement. Puis je souhaite, parce qu'il y a un fort désir des deux parties, que ça fonctionne.
Merci.
Merci, Frédéric. Next question is from JC Habit. Please go ahead, JC.
Hey, Danny. You're a proud Canadian. You grew up in this game. You coached at the university level for a number of years. Do you feel any sort of obligation to question some of these rule changes or push back against the commissioner in these meetings?
I don't know if I feel an obligation. What I do feel is that I just want to see this game evolve. I want this Canadian game to take the next step. And I don't know what the next step is. It's going to be interesting here to hear some of the arguments. And I'm always intrigued to know what other people think around the table. And that may affect the way I see things. Maybe I've overlooked some of the some things along the way when the announcement was made that we were contemplating going into in a particular direction with this new resolution. So I'm intrigued to know what everybody else thinks about it. But at the end of the day, I want what's best for the CFL and for the Canadian game, because I think everybody can reap the benefits from it.
We know that the league claims they've done their research on how these rule changes will affect scoring and things of that nature. How much research and preparation do you do on a personal or a team level when you're going into these meetings to prepare yourself for those discussions?
We've done our research. I can tell you we've done our research in detail. I've taken the required time to make sure that whatever arguments I'm going to present them with some data. So I can tell you that we will be ready for these discussions. But at the same time, I'm curious to see, other general managers, those are head coaches. I'm sure they've done some research along the way, and I want to see what they're going to present. And like I said, I want there to be some common ground with this, and I'm all about making this league better.
You give us a preview as to what you've discovered in that research?
JC, you'll hear about it here in the next few days, hopefully. How does that sound?
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Merci, JC. Sorry, Dan. I had Herb that texted me that he wanted to join the queue before you. So next question is from Herb Zukowski. Please go ahead, Herb.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you guys. My apologies for my technical difficulties as usual on my end, but I am on and I can see you guys. Look, there's this feeling that if something ain't broke, you don't fix it. Do you think there is a need? One thing that jumped out at me was the playoff system, the potential of changing the playoff system. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, would you like to see an overall grouping as opposed to division by division? Is there a need to change things?
I mean, there's been years where I mean that's been discussed and thought of, you know, when one division is stronger than the other, and you look at the records and you know that a 9-9 team in one division has a better record than the second place team in another division, and they're hosting a playoff game and you're out of the playoffs. That's happened in a couple times throughout the course of since I've been in the league. And there's always the feeling that, man, I wish we could change things. But you know, does the East-West division work? Yeah, it does work. It still provides a very competitive playoff system during the season. Everyone knows you have to finish in a certain level to advance, and you still play football and you still play all the games to win. So I think it still works. Is there a discussion to be had to make it to where the top 6 teams make it? Sure. I mean, that's for a discussion, but you know, I think it's always, you know, not to say cry over spilled milk. It's when things bad happen to you, you want to change it. But at the end of the day, it's worked for quite a long time, and it's still exciting. It's still part of our league, and everybody knows going in what the games mean and how they are played out.
Do you have something you'd like to add to that, Mr. Maciocia?
Oh, Herb, I mean, only fools don't change their mind, right? I think you need to be open-minded with all of this. And I mean, we can even take a look at the NFL. I mean, we're both sadly Browns fans, and take a look at that division. You got a team that played for 500 that wins the division, and you're gonna have some other teams that are 500 that are not even in the playoffs. So it's never perfect. That's just the reality of what you're dealing with. But I think you need to be open-minded, and like I said, only fools don't change their minds.
I wish you would not have expressed, now everybody knows that I might favor the Cleveland Browns. I wish you would have kept that private. Look, you said, all kidding aside, you said, Danny, when we met at the end of the season after the Grey Cup, that the heavy lifting would be done by Christmas. You've done a lot of heavy lifting. Obviously, the one name missing from that list is Dequoy, your starting safety. Look, there's still time to get things done, but as we sit here today, do you believe he will be a member of the Alouettes next season?
I'm gonna say I hope so. I'm banking on it. I would bet on it, but I can't guarantee you that that'll be the case. Again, listen, nobody knows Marc-Antoine better than I do. I mean, I recruited the kid out of Montmorency, so I know him really well. I've had multiple conversations with him. I've sat down with his agent. We've had several discussions also. I think there's a strong desire from his end to play in Montreal and even to end his career in Montreal. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm hoping that that'll be the case. Now, whether it's in a year or 2 or 3 or 4, because I can see him in the future being an ambassador for our organization, and I want that attachment and that link to exist for the longest of time. Now, just because it hasn't been, it hasn't come to fruition just yet as far as consummating a contract, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't happen. We still have a lot of time. It's just the way we operate the last few years. I like to do all my heavy lifting before the holidays. Unfortunately, this one, we haven't, been able to bang out an agreement, but who's to say that, I don't know, it can't happen by the end of the day. But there is there's a strong appetite and a desire from both ends to get it done. But we'll see how it all unfolds here over the next little while.
Just one more. I know people are waiting. I'm sorry. Just one more quick question. The teams have been announcing their coaching staffs for the upcoming season. Your team has not done that. Jason, you are in the market, I believe, you've lost 2 coaches, so who's going to replace LBJ, and can you say who's going to replace Greg Quick?
Yeah, those positions will be filled, and we'll announce it at the end of the month. So I know a lot of other teams have done it already. We'll feel better about announcing it at the end of the month, and those positions will be filled.
Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. With like 5 minutes left and 5 more questions to go, we will not take any more questions for the line. So next question is from Dan Ralph. Please go ahead, Dan.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I guess good morning where you are. Just an update on Davis Alexander, how he left the complex in November, and if you've been getting updates regarding how his rehab might be going.
I talked with him or texted with him over New Year's, and I asked him point blank, how close do you think you are? And he said a couple more weeks. So I think he'll be at 100% by the end of January. I know he's going to come up to Montreal, and we're going to check on him, physically and in person. I think that's part of the plan of the off season, to make sure he's always at a certain point. But it's going well. So excited for that.
Anything to add, Danny?
No, actually, just to piggyback on what Jason said, I text him. I think we text every 2 to 3 days. We talk about how he's doing. He's a big hockey fan too, so he's checking in on what the Canadians are doing. He's a big Avs fan, Colorado Avalanche fan. So I know that at the end of the month they're in town. I think on the 28th. So we're going to try to schedule a little get-together, have him come down, assist and catch a hockey game. And at the same time, we'll have our medical people take a good hard look at him. But even moving forward after that get-together, the mindset is to have him in here every 5 to 6 weeks, and just to make sure that we can, we got a quarterback that's 100% coming to training camp. And again, making sure that there's no surprises.
Merci.
Thank you, Dan. Next question is from Justin Dunk. Please go ahead, Justin.
This one's for Danny. Austin Mack has a bonus coming up on February 1st. Do you envision being able to have him on your team, considering you already have Tyson Philpott, who has a big salary, and then Tyler Sneed, who's in that $200,000 range as well?
Yeah, well, right now we don't have to be at the cap until December 31st of this year. So, we can make it fit if we choose to make it fit. There's other bonuses that are coming up. He's not the only one. I think we've got multiple players that are getting bonuses. I think even actually the 15th of January, heading into the 1st of February and the 15th of February. So whether it's Austin or any other player, we can make it fit if we choose to make it fit.
And then one more player question for you. Do you envision Sean Lemon being back with the Alouettes in 2026?
No, that I can be a little bit more, clear about. We're going to move on from Sean. If you take a look at the way we are structured, even on the defensive side of the ball, that doesn't necessarily mean that it cannot change in 26. But, with Berglund, with Archibald, with Luwaluwat, they're Canadians, they're ratio changers. And we anticipate that that's how we're going to line up here in 26. But like I said, we'll go to training camp and see how that all unfolds. But I think from an edge position, I think we're dealing from a position of strength with our Canadian players there.
A similar question for McLeod Bethel-Thompson at backup quarterback. Do you think he'll be back there, or do you envision some change behind Davis Alexander?
That's open for discussion. That's the reason. Jay and I keep talking, whether it was at the conclusion of the season, even though we're here and we're going to be assisting some league functions. We spend a lot of the so-called downtime that we have, whether it's in the morning for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and we talk about our actual roster, and we'll go through it, Canadians, Americans, and we'll break it down by position and see how we want to be structured and what kind of identity we want to have here in 26.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Next question is from Valérie de RDS. Vas-y, Valérie.
Oui, ma question, c'est pour Danny. Juste pour revenir à la question qui a été posée par Dan sur la progression à Davis Alexander, est-ce que juste tu pourrais peut-être donner une réponse en français de savoir comment la progression va avec lui puis le contact que vous avez avec?
Oui, écoute, ça va très bien. Je pense qu'il lui reste peut-être une autre 2, 3 semaines avant qu'il va être à 100%. Je peux vous dire que ce soit moi ou Jason, on lui parle assez souvent. Si on se parle pas, il y a beaucoup de textos, d'échanges de textos. Il devrait être en ville à la fin du mois. L'idée, c'est il vient nous voir chaque 5, 6 semaines. La chose qu'on veut éviter, c'est des surprises au camp d'entraînement. On veut un carrière en Davis Alexander qui se trouve à 100% parce que on a vu qu'est-ce qu'il est capable de faire quand il joue à 75 ou 80% physiquement, mais si jamais on peut avoir un carrière à 100% en santé, mais je pense que ça peut faire toute la différence au monde pour nous.
Merci.
Merci Valérie. Dernière question, Olivier Paradis-Lemieux. Vas-y, Olivier.
Bonjour, Danny. La semaine dernière, on a vu le bulletin donc, des joueurs de la CFL. Vous avez été écorché quand même sur quelques sujets, installation, traitement des familles. Comment est-ce que vous avez reçu ça en tant qu'organisation?
Mais écoute, ça dépend comment tu vois le bulletin. Concernant les entraîneurs, je pense qu'ils ont eu un A. Les opérations football ont eu un B. Je pense que le traitement familial, on a eu un F. Ça me déçoit énormément, mais on n'a pas les installations que peut-être d'autres équipes ont. Notre situation est vraiment limitée au Stade McGill. C'est sûr qu'on prend ça au sérieux. C'est sûr que, écoute, tu parles à 2 membres, 2 individus que on donne beaucoup d'importance au sujet familial. Alors, nous, on veut l'améliorer. On va s'asseoir, on va regarder c'est quoi nos options d'améliorer cette situation-là ou ce dossier-là. Puis, je souhaite que ça sera le cas, que ça va être mieux en 2026. Concernant les installations, on continue de regarder des options. C'est sûr que on veut donner les meilleures installations, que ce soit aux joueurs ou aux entraîneurs. Mais ça, c'est une discussion qui continue d'avoir autour de la table avec la direction. Puis je souhaite que dans 1 ou 2 ans, ça va s'améliorer. Mais j'ai rien de concret de vous partager aujourd'hui.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Danny, Jason. Thank you. Merci.